Mark.
It is now 11 a.m., so I'll call the Thursday, October 9th Fiscal Resources Committee to order. I trust that you've had an opportunity to read the minutes of September 4th, 2025. If so, I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved. Support.
Motion by Commissioner Tillotson, supported by Commissioner Blanco. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye to approve those minutes.
Aye.
All right, we approve the minutes of September 4th. Moving along, we've arrived to finance reports.
You will find your finance reports in your packet, starting with the Capital Fund Division, Building and Site. You will see that you have a balance available for future projects at just over 1.4 million. And you can see that you have three projects open in that division. Moving on to the Maurice Pierre Campus Division of the Capital Fund. Again, you have three projects open in that division as well, and you have just under $42,000 available for future projects. And if there's any questions, I will attempt to answer those.
Any questions of the finance report? Hearing none, thank you, Shannon. We have arrived at building and grounds, which we're going to stay at for a while here. It looks like today. Mr. Rob.
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm going to just cover a few highlights here since we do have so much on the agenda. At the jail facility, we have replaced the internal and external components for the cooler and the freezer. Those updates were badly needed, so hopefully they'll be in good shape for the years to come. We've completed the fall filter changes in all buildings on the HVAC systems. At the Human Services Building, the Health Department renovations that Monica's been working so hard on are set to begin. So that's exciting times over there. At the Maurice Pierre campus, the detention phase 1 project has been completed, and we're getting started on phase 2, which is remodeling the existing detention. And we've been doing staff training in the new building to get everybody up to date on all the new equipment and everything going on there. And that should take care of it.
Well, thank you, Rob. Any questions of building and grounds maintenance? Dr. Van Dorn.
How about, Rob, those signage for Sheriff's Department?
Oh, yeah, that's on the agenda today.
Okay,
So it's later on in the
okay,
agenda, so.
very good. Thanks.
Yep.
You're welcome. All right, any more questions of building and grounds? Hearing none, we have a lot of requests. So first request.
The first request is to close the MSC detention roof replacement or project CPMS 2505. You have just under 6,500 remaining in that project. And again, the request is to close that project.
So moved. Support.
Moved by Commissioner Tillotson, supported by Commissioner Blanco. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Moving along.
The next request is as part of your 2025 capital improvement plan, $15,000 was budgeted for the complex concrete repair. You will see a proposal from Hard Rock Concrete for $13,200, and they're asking for $1,000 in contingency, totaling a request of $14,200 from your capital fund.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Blanco, supported by Commissioner Tillotson. Discussion. Chairman Van Dorn.
That's a big difference between the two bids. I mean, are we pretty well assured that we're comparing apples to apples? I'm just concerned. I mean, that was huge.
Yeah, it is a huge difference. Rockhart has always been the low bid on most of our projects that we do. think sometimes, when other contractors are in their busy season, they also maybe don't need the work and kind of are like, well, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, we, made sure we did all of our, research and that we were comparing apples to apples. So
Okay,
we're
great.
all set.
Where is Rock Hard located?
They're located right down here on, Winter Street.
Yep. Where is this?
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Well, same sign. We have completed that request. Moving along.
The next request is again part of your 2025 capital improvement plan. 165,500 was budgeted for remodeling of the HSB meeting rooms. HSB is the Human Services Building. The request before you is a bit larger. As you will see, the total comes to 223,248.97. And again, that's just due to, one, those panels, the Gardner Vose that you see in there is a kind of a niche, company. It's very difficult to find somebody who makes those panels that will divide the rooms up in those, the Human Services meeting rooms. So this is a recommendation to Personnel Ways and Means to accept the combined, quotes between Krieghoff, Lenawee, Red Letter, and Gardner Vose, with a request for a $10,000 contingency totaling $223,248.97.
Oh,
We'd entertain a motion.
I know, I'm looking at it.
Yep, okay.
I will make that motion, so moves.
Motion by Commissioner Blanco.
I'll support it for discussion.
Yeah.
Supported by Commissioner Tillotson. Discussion.
How,
Commissioner Tillotson.
how big an area are they doing?
Well, essentially, if you go out to the HSB or Human Services Building, it's the River Raisin and Spartan Room as well as the Lenawee Room. These meeting rooms are heavily used throughout the county by various organizations, a lot of them within the Human Services Building themselves. The rooms are difficult to utilize right now. Specifically, the panels are extremely hard to move due to their age and weight. And so we've had numerous requests to update this room. Part of this renovation will also increase the ability for a joint information center or a JIC if the EOC is operated. So that's a location where everybody will come together to disseminate the same information. So everybody in the county would be receiving the information regarding emergency should that center be opened up. And that would be where these meetings rooms are held. The Lenawee room will also be opened up to now enter into the Spartan and River Raisin room. And that is due to our early voting. Right now, we have our early voting. That's where our early voting center is. And this would allow us to move all of our voting machines into the Lenawee Center and lock them up and have an opportunity to, again, lock both doors on the Lenawee room so that all voting machines could be remain housed there instead of our team having to remove them every day during those early voting sessions.
So they're gonna take the wall out and then lock it up?
Take the wall out and add a door. That also, again, for that Joint Information Center allows for the command staff of an EOC to go into a room to discuss highly sensitive information without having to do that in front of reporters and things of that nature.
I have a question.
Commissioner Blanco.
Yes, are the panels that are there, are they the original panels from when they were constructed? And so
Yes.
we've not done this in the past? Okay.
No.
Dr. Van Dorn.
so is there an urgency on this?
There's an urgency, if you ask any of the department heads at the Human Services Building, because again, these rooms are heavily used and again, they're just not meeting the needs of today's essentially technology and things of that nature. Or the physical plant of the room. Again, those panels are extremely difficult to move and separate the rooms and then to open the rooms up.
So is this more renovation or is this more reconfiguration for early voting?
Essentially, it's more renovation. We're also updating speakers and things of that nature, again, to accommodate the Joint Information Center, as well as if for some reason this room would not be utilized, we could actually turn that room then into an opportunity or an area where we could hold all board meetings.
Okay, so, because there's some concern whether even with this renovation, there's enough room there for early voting.
Mhm.
And I know there's been some other options that are being looked at this time, so that if early voting moved out of there, this needs to be done anyways.
Absolutely.
Further discussion? Any further discussion?
I-
Mr. Vander.
Sorry, one other question. So just for my information, I get these confused. So this is out of the capital improvement plan. It's $50,000 more than what was planned on. I take the capital improvement plan as flush, and also, does this take care of the process? It doesn't have to go to Ways and Means?
This actually does have to go to Ways and Means, and though it's in your capital plan, it's not coming out of your capital fund. It will come out of the Human Services Building Fund.
Oh, okay. Which is got enough to,
Correct,
more than enough to cover. Okay,
correct.
thank you.
Mhm.
There are other options on the table if people would not like to move this forward for now as well, so. Any discussion?
It's not part of the motion, so I don't know if we can discuss it, but what all alternatives do we have?
I'm just saying that you could table this motion, punt it for a month if you want to research it more.
I'd just like to address that because I brought it up, but unfortunately, what we're talking about just surfaced and we haven't had a chance to investigate any of it yet, Commissioner Tilson. And so while it may be an opportunity for us, it's, just come up in the last week.
Well, that's one of the great things about early voting. If you all voted the same day, you could just forget 155,000. I do go there for 2 meetings a month, at the Lenawee room, and it's fine as far as I'm concerned, just me. No offense to the people that brought it up, I just think it's a lot of money, and a purpose that is kind of foolish to begin with. Beyond that, I guess I'm ready to vote.
All right. Please approach the microphone if you'd like to address us.
I am certainly invading the space, but I do have an opinion and a thought to share with you. That space is embarrassing. It desperately needs at least a facelift, at the very least. I use that building or those meeting rooms regularly. And to have guests come in from our community and see it in the shambles, and quite frankly, it is shambles that it is in, I think it is desperately a need for those community rooms to have the attention. It is long overdue for those individuals and programs that are using it. And I think the county would want to have some pride to have the community that comes in to see it in a better space.
Deputy Administrator Janet Elliott.
I would add to that, I don't know if any of you have been out there for training or we had the reentry simulation opportunity out there months ago. You can't hear, if you're in the back of the room, you cannot hear what somebody is saying in the front because the speakers are so aged that you can't even understand what's being said to you. We also don't have any audiovisual opportunities in that room, which are heavily used in today's world for trainings or meetings of any sort. So there's no, you have to actually wheel in a TV that again, you can't hear. I couldn't even hear and I was in the middle of the room. So again, these rooms are heavily used for training and meetings, and they're obsolete in the fact that you can't partake in those meetings or those trainings if you are placed in the middle of the room or farther back. There's no way you're actually taking any of that information in. I know that the county has utilized those rooms in the past for broad county trainings from MMRMA. And again, most people, you're packed in there so tightly that you can't participate and hear what's said. That's again where some of those things, this is so desperately needed for the county.
Mr. Van Dorn.
Well, I would definitely support it. My concern is that if something happened with early voting moving forward, I wanted to make sure that we just weren't expending this for early voting to expand, because then we're gonna get criticized for moving early voting and putting all the money in here. I agree with what was said here today and your comments that, you know, one thing we do in Lenawee County is we take care of our buildings and we take care of our campus, wherever it's at, and, you know, everything's done very nicely. And so I think we absolutely want to keep it that way. So I'm just glad to know that it needed the renovation, and I can support that wholeheartedly.
Mr. Tillotson.
Think that it's kind of a two-phase situation. I don't think the Lenawee room is embarrassing to anybody. I would go beyond that, with the folding doors and the different rooms. Yeah, facelift is probably in order. When you take the wall out, then the Lenawee room is like the other two. But I do frequently have meetings there, and, you know, with the length of time the building has been built and the amount of money that's been spent on them rooms, adjust the situation a little bit more. But I think whoever done the bidding, if it's smaller than my house and somebody walked in and said they need to do a little remodeling, my house was built in 1990. It's just gonna cost you $155,000. I wouldn't go to the living room, I'd sit down in a chair sooner. I think it's just, I think the bidding, I don't think we need to do what we need to do, but at the same time, $155,000. I'd like to be at the other end of that, because I think less than 100 gonna be spent.
Just to clarify a couple things, the whole wall between the Lenawee room and the rest of the rooms will not be removed. It's a portion, just to create a door, again, that can be locked. Also, again, this renovation is not just for early voting. It just assists the early voting operations that currently are happening out there. This, again, would be a multi-purpose room that's already currently heavily used in trainings and meetings. The entire space, the Lenawee room, as well as River Raisin and Spartan. And again, it currently is, again, it's obsolete. There's no tech. There's none of those things out there, that audiovisual that's so desperately needed for trainings and meetings. So when we're talking about a renovation, it's more than just the physical renovations, and it's adding in our currently outdated speakers. It's adding in some of the training components like TVs and things of that nature. There's a lot of technology and audiovisual components that are being added to that. So it's not just a construction renovation. There's this audiovisual component that's also being added. That's where you see the red letter quote in that packet as well. I also further want to reiterate that these quotes, in fact, recently have increased due to tariffs. So the quotes are just increasing due to some of the tariffs and the difficulty in gaining some of the required materials to complete this project.
I would just like to point out that this project has actually been on the capital improvement plan for several years and has kind of got kicked down the road due to other things that we had going on in the building. So to allay any fears that it was, you know, because of early voting that we're trying to do this, it's absolutely not true. We've been trying to do this for several years, but we've had other things that were deemed more important to get done in the building, using the budget. So it's definitely, in my opinion, time to not kick it down the road anymore and take care of this now before it becomes even more expensive.
All right, further discussion? Well, we've heard just about from everybody. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. We have approved that project. All right. Moving along, Shannon.
Moving along, the next request before you is one of the compressors for the Human Services Building chiller went down and needs to be replaced. So the request before you is to recommend the acceptance of the AMS proposal of $33,500 to replace the Human Services Building chiller compressor and to include a $1,000 contingency totaling $34,500. And again, this would come out of the HSB fund.
So move.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Tillotson, supported by Commissioner Blanco. Discussion. I saw a couple hands go up and then go down.
No, just support.
Commissioner Tillotson.
I like the idea that as these projects are bid, that you put a percentage of money in the contingency. I think that's a good move. We don't put 200 grand in, we put in 2,000 or 20 or whatever we need, but as the projects go, we're always taking care of the contingency. I think that's a good idea. I like that.
Thank you. That's to the credit of our wonderful Building and Grounds Division.
Good for them.
Good idea.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. We've approved the chiller repair project. Few more here. Item F.
Okay, moving down to per the lease agreement for the Social Security Suite, we are due to paint that space. So the request before you would be to recommend the acceptance to Personnel Ways and Means, the Adrian Coatings proposal in the amount of $12,270 to abide by the terms of that lease agreement and paint that suite.
So moved.
Or
Motion by Commissioner Blanco, supported by Commissioner Tillotson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. We've approved the painting project. Item G. Now, this is a good one here.
So last month, if you recall, you approved the purchase of a secondary road patrol vehicle with the secondary road patrol grant funds, as we were going to leave some on the table and we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to give any money back. So we purchased a new vehicle for that secondary road patrol. At that time, we also, I'm so sorry. Forgive me. I saw a sheriff and I went to the secondary road.
Here to help, Shannon.
I was getting lost.
Thank you. My apologies, everyone. Like I said, I saw a sheriff and I just went right to the secondary road patrol.
Oh.
So forgive me. There has been a conversation regarding naming the sheriff's office building, the Richard L. Germans building.
Support.
Okay.
I was just kidding.
The request before you is to recommend the acceptance to Personnel Ways and Means, the insignia proposal in the amount of $3,107.59. And you will see in your packet a picture of what that proposed signage will look like.
Support. Or so moved. Sorry.
So moved by Commissioner Blanco,
or
supported by Commissioner Tillotson. There we go. Thank you
Oh, yeah.
for right sizing it. Wow, that's pretty bold, and I'm glad it is because Sheriff Germán was a bold leader in this community. What style of font is that?
It's in the-
It is sans serif? Okay.
Cool.
Wow, that's very moving. Mr. Van Dorn, I know you have a comment on this.
Just for clarification, it was mentioned there's been some discussion. It was actually voted on by the Board of Commissioners to do this, so it's already, all we're looking at is how to get the letters up there because it's already been approved to be done.
Well, yes, thank you so much for that. Any further discussion? And I propose a very nice ceremony when this is installed. Do we have a timeline on when it's going to be installed?
We've had some internal discussions about when would be the best time. There's a little bit of concern about getting the letters fabricated and installed yet this fall before we get cold weather that might make deter some people from coming. So, I mean, we could either try to get it done this fall, or he said he'd be willing to manufacture them, honor the bid, store them until the spring, and then have a ceremony in the spring. So it's kind of up to us at this point.
Let's do it, try to do it the sooner the better, but of course, making sure that we're working with the family to make sure that all the family members will be able to be here present, because that's the most important thing.
Of which I have,
Dr. Van Dorn.
talked to the family, okay? And explained to them, I think we should defer it, because what we want to do is we want to get the letters up there and have a shroud over it, so that, you know, it's not out there for the dedication. At the dedication, then the shroud comes off and the letters are there. And so I think we're going to be better off to get the letters and store them and do it in the spring of the year with nice weather when the family can be here. And I've discussed that with the family.
Great work as always, Mr. Van Dorn. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now on to Drain Commission. Ed?
Thank you. Good morning. A monthly update for our operations. Our crews are working on open drains in Dover and Rome townships currently. We have several months of projects lined up for our crews, so if the fall and winter weather cooperates, we'll be busy all winter. Update on one of our petition projects, our Gittes tile drain replacement. It's in Ridgeway Township. It's scheduled to start probably next week. I'm having materials delivered on Monday for that project. Then another project that was petitioned is the Burns Drain in Franklin Township. Commissioner Van Dorn attended that board of determination, and moving forward, I contracted with Land and Resource Engineers to complete the study on that project. And I've met with them and we've had a kickoff meeting, and they're gonna get started on that study soon. Our office staff has been busy finalizing the 2025 drain assessment role, which I will present next week to the full Board of Commissioners. And a little update, not much of an update, but an update on the Red Mill Pond Dam. The contractor is currently working on restoration, seeding, fine grading. All the concrete work has been completed. The kayak portage is complete. However, there's not a whole lot of water below the dam right now with the weather that we're having, so I haven't seen it utilized yet, but it may have been. Yet to be completed, we've got some fencing that needs to go up, and then the gates and actuators, they're still on back order, but as soon as they get there, he figures that he could have those installed. The contractor figures he could have those installed within a week when we receive those, and hopefully we'll receive those soon. So that's where we're at with that. If anyone has any questions.
Mr. Van Dorn.
And I just asked, what's the cost to do that burn study?
The Burns study came in at just over $17,000.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Ed? Hearing none, moving along, we have a few more requests here.
And now to the secondary road patrol. I was just very excited early in the meeting. Again, so last month you voted to authorize the purchase of a 2026 Dodge Durango utilizing the secondary road patrol grant funding that otherwise would have been clawed back by the state. We discussed last month that we did not have enough funding to both purchase the vehicle and upfit the vehicle. And so that the plan was to purchase the vehicle in the last grant cycle or grant year in fourth quarter. And then in the beginning of this grant cycle, this grant year, in first quarter to upfit the vehicle. So the request before you is to recommend the authorization of the purchase, authorization to purchase the equipment for the new secondary road patrol vehicle and upfit through Adrian Sign Shop in Adrian, Michigan for $27,050.59.
I'd entertain a motion.
So
Just so moved. Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Tillotson,
Support.
supported by Commissioner Blanco. Discussion.
I just had a question. Is this amount, what we had discussed when we talked about how much the upfitting was going to be?
We didn't discuss the amount as much as we discussed where and how that works because it happens locally and we wanted to make sure that we did that upfitting locally. But this is the average cost for
Okay.
upfitting. We see that in our, again, in the capital plan when we're
Okay.
looking at purchasing vehicles. This is the average
Okay.
amount for.
That's what, I just want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that it was a typical, amount. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Tillotson?
When you buy these vehicles, you buy them on the state plan. And the state plan is kind of generous in certain ways. So you certainly buy it for less money than we would, any of us wanting to buy one individually. I'm not gonna have any trouble supporting it, but I think $27,000 is a lot of money to detail. Now, how much further than the detail? What portion of the detail is $27,000? And no offense to nobody, but it
Yeah.
seems like everybody's got three hands out when they want something.
Yeah, is there an itemized, bid on this?
I don't have an itemized of the equipment. I can tell you, I can sympathize with you back in the day when they were $2,000 to put lights and siren on a vehicle was a lot different than they are today. Today, they're basically a huge computer. It's all computer, it's all electronics, even the lights are electronic. Everything is this massive computer. And it used to be we would take a cage out of one car and put it in the next car and move on down. Nothing can be moved from one place to the other. The technology is so immense and it's outdated by the time the car is utilized that when it's used and ready to take offline, the equipment is completely different again. It's just incredible. It shocks me every time I see it costs almost as much to put lights and siren in as it does to buy a vehicle, but it's all the electronics.
Commissioner Tillotson, sorry to interrupt. We've asked Jennifer to put up the itemized list of the total bid that is included in the packet for the viewers at home to see. So it looks like there's a lot of items that go into upfitting, not just
And I can
gate,
add
a
to that.
radar and a sticker.
We actually do well because we have a local place that does it. A lot of the counties come here to have them done. There's very few businesses that specialize in this because it's so technical. You have to have so many degrees and certifications in order to put all this electronics in, that Adrian Sign is one of the few places that does it. We have them coming from, they have contracts with other counties bringing them in here. So we're kind of fortunate to have them right in our backyard and at our disposal because we don't have to take it halfway across the state like a lot of these places do.
Commissioner Collins.
As you look, by the way, I used to be in the police vehicle equipment business for a while. But if you look through the list, you'll find that very little of it actually applies to the graphics. Way down the bottom is very little.
Now, $600 out of the whole
Right.
thing, yeah.
So you're looking at light bars, sirens, console plates. And it's really interesting because you pay X dollars for a console. That's the thing that goes in the middle of the car that the officers control everything with. But you also have to buy a separate plate for a specific radio, a separate plate for a specific control head, light bars and sirens. They all trickle up. I will say that when I was in the business, you would have done the same thing for $900, but that was a long time ago. But the real substantial cost is the equipment, not the graphics.
Back in the big Crown Vic days.
Showing your age there, Commissioner.
And I
Well,
have the honor to go out for the last several years to their yearly or biannual police officer pursuit driving courses, and it's impressive to see the officers and the deputies investing their time and talent into making our streets safer. So Deputy Administrator Shannon Elliott.
I also just want to reiterate that none of this will be coming out of our general fund or capital fund. This will all be coming through the secondary road patrol grant funding from the state of Michigan.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Tillotson?
Yeah, and I really appreciate the fact that it does not come out of us directly. But as we work through this whole thing this morning, it's this fund and this fund and this fund. But because it doesn't come from that fund or us directly, does not really cut too much ice with me. It's part of a grant. Well, they write them grants for who? This one happens to be the police department. After we had this discussion, I understand why it cost $27,000. Before, I didn't understand that. So no offense to nobody. If I got a question, I'm gonna ask it.
We appreciate your questions at every one of the meetings, Commissioner
you-
Tillotson.
You know, this computer age we live in is, if we don't do it today, it'll be 31 tomorrow.
Right.
It's just the way it is. It's just, so anyway, I don't want people to not realize the fact that because you can get monies from a grant is nice, but it's not everything. That money is there for a certain purpose and we ought to respect it a little bit.
Any further discussion? I would just like to offer my comment that I just want you to pass along to the sheriff and the sheriff department that we are committed as a county commission to continue to invest in vehicles for our sheriff's department to keep our community safer.
Well, we appreciate that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign, motion carried. All right.
You
now
do-
on to
you-
request for the radio.
Mr. Chairman, you do realize this is an election year for you, right?
I serve our community, whether it's an election year or not an election
Okay.
year, and you were not recognized. Moving along to radio boosters.
Excuse me. As we brought forth last month, we brought forth the cell boosters that would provide everyone to have cell service within the building. This month, we checked the radios, both the emergency responder radios as well as the internal operational radios. So the emergency responders radios are a dual mode radio, and the internal operational radios that are used amongst MSC staff are a single mode radio. So to boost those radios so that they would have access and be able to communicate throughout the building and outside of the building, we need radio boosters. The dual mode radio booster, we have a quote in the amount of $84,243.05. And for the single mode radios, we have a booster quote in the amount of $14,685. Again, this is a very niche product, if you will. We could not find a lot of companies, local or even in Ohio, that would be able to do this. So we only were able to obtain 2 quotes for the emergency responders or dual mode radios. We also limited some of those because it cost, there's a significant cost, anywhere between $2,500 and $5,000 to actually have them even come look around to then bid it out. So it actually cost us money to get some quotes. However, these are very needed. We also had emergency responders come into the building, walk around and try to communicate, and they were unable to do so in multiple locations within the building. So obviously, as you can see, it's a significant security issue, an emergency issue to have these boosters placed within the building. So the request before you is to recommend the acceptance of the 2 Mobile Communications American quotes, 2 personnel ways means totaling $98,928.05. This is included in soft costs for the overall project, so this will not increase what you have seen come forward as we've been working on the MSC project. It is included in that $21 million.
All right.
Can I ask a question? before we move to it, is it okay if I ask a question? Or do you have to have a motion first?
Technically, you need a motion.
So move.
Okay,
Motion by Commissioner Tillotson,
I will support it.
support by Commissioner Blanco.
And then my question is, do we know what the lifespan of these boosters will be? Like, is this gonna be another thing that the technology is gonna be obsolete in a year or two? Do we have any sense of that or?
I can't give you the full lifespan, but these will not be obsolete as the 800 megahertz radio is carried by emergency responders throughout the county so that they're able to communicate throughout the county. That the larger booster will work to maintain that at Marie Spear campus.
Okay,
The smaller booster, the one in just under 15,000, that will allow for staff to communicate back and forth, which you, again, is equally as important,
Okay.
right? That staff is able to talk and discuss who's moving where and if there's a concern or an issue. But the boosters they will not become obsolete and neither will those radios.
okay. I just want to make sure that this is, got a long enough lifespan to justify spending this amount of money. That's all.
And point of clarification, the staff use the same frequency, the 800 megahertz.
The staff does not. They use a single mode radio while emergency responders use a dual mode, which is at 800 megahertz.
Okay.
The internal operations, I don't exactly know what that frequency looks like. However, they want to maintain that, the single mode radio within the operational component of Marie Spear campus.
That's interesting. And the 800 megahertz is kind of a newer, some of the surrounding counties have just moving to get up to that level. So we're already up at that higher level.
Okay, thank you.
I was just gonna add that, we have a similar thing in the jail going on with, we have 800 megahertz and we also have that, they have regular radios for person to person. I think all of them probably need boosters, but, I know as far as the 800 megahertz go, that's, again, it's technology. It's a huge computer that works and they don't go obsolete. They get updated a lot and it takes a while before you get them where you have to replace them.
Okay.
And I'm imagining the boosters are probably along the same thing where they update them as opposed to have to just replace. 'Cause it's just a big computer system.
And you need the boosters because of all the concrete walls and
Right.
stuff built differently. Mr. Collins.
Historically, if there was a problem that back in my day, there would be a problem getting out of this room. But if in fact that system becomes obsolete, it is because they are at a technology stage where you don't even need it.
Okay,
But that the radios will operate themselves and that's well into the future.
perfect. Thank you.
Commissioner Tillotson.
In our discussion here this morning, Morris Spear's been mentioned twice in this particular stage. If that has any connection to Morris Spear, I would trust that those people that are out of county would have to stand a portion of this because of that. Am I right or wrong?
This actually will come out of the funding that's been utilized for the total project, which is mainly ARPA funding, as well as some contingency funding from the county and as well as funding from Department on Aging. However, we do receive revenue when we take a juvenile from any other county. We do receive revenue that comes back into the 292 or the Marie Spear campus account.
But won't be individually funded through any portion of these fees. Didn't describe that correctly, but Mr. Van Dorn?
And just so everyone knows, that's all factored in the annual budget. When the staff takes a look at what we need to allocate to Marie Spear, okay, they take a look at how many beds we need to farm out outside of the county and what the rates are. We go through that every year when we talk about the budget and they're pretty good at keeping track of that and bringing it up to speed. So they do a great job on that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Request C for purchase van for Department on Aging.
So move.
Support.
This nice gal approaching the microphone again.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. Um,
Please state who you are, please.
I am Carrie Rebatero from the Department on Aging. I am, sometimes things just fall in your lap and you just can't say no. Wellwise Services sought a grant from Consumers Energy on behalf of both Lenawee County and Hillsdale County, who provide non-emergency transportation. Typically, our role is to provide transportation to individuals who are going to non-emergency medical appointments. But they reached out to us and said, we're going to apply for a grant. We're hoping that you can help expand transportation for those who are confined or utilizing a wheelchair. And so they sought this grant. Unfortunately, the grant did not provide as much as they wanted to. So Wellwise Board of Commissioners or advisory board? No, they're the board. Agreed to match the grant in order to allow both Hillsdale and Lenawee County to purchase a handicap or a wheelchair accessible van. So the funds are in our account and we are seeking the ability to purchase that van to add to our group, knowing that there would be additional cost to having a van, because just having it is just part of it. We have been fortunate to seek a grant from Lenawee Community Foundation, which allows us to support individuals who are using that van in other aspects than the non-emergency transportation. For instance, perhaps grocery shopping, picking up medications, those types of things that don't fit into our other grants, but are still a need in our community for those who are wheelchair bound. So we have funding that would help support those projects as well. The full cost is not to exceed $62,200, which seems extremely high for a van, but in order to outfit it to accommodate wheelchairs, it does have some additional costs.
Commissioner Van Dorn.
And just to add to that, Carrie, we appreciate Jackson County's participation because when they were decided the board to take a look at this and work with Consumers Energy, there's 3 counties that share with Wellwise and their departments on aging. And Jackson, because they have their own transportation system, said, hey, go ahead and work on Lenawee and Hillsdale because we have our own system over here. And we appreciate that on behalf of the members of the board from Jackson County. So
We do have a great community, great tri-county area.
All right, we had a motion supported. We're in discussion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, this will move on to Ways and Means Committee if it is approved. So with that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The same sign. We have approved that. Now on to, speaking of all the renovations at Marie Spears campus, I will talk a little bit while Shannon gets a glass of water real quick. Deputy Administrator Shannon Elliott.
We wanted to add a few pictures into your packet as we have, as this project has moved along, because essentially phase 1 of the project, the expansion has been completed. And you can see that we have an amazing kitchen and we have an amazing facility now for our young people who are justice involved to go to. Currently, the Ranger has already blown through existing detention and they move fast. We were in there yesterday. Beds are removed. They've got lighting down throughout the existing detention or old detention, because I guess they're both existing now. And they are moving through there quite quickly to demo and then get started on pulling up that concrete and getting that system all renovated. So it's exciting to see what that will look like. And when we're all up in full operation, again, we're anticipating phase 2 of the project or existing detention, old detention to be renovated by April of 2026 and have a full operating detention system. So.
Any questions of the Marie Spears campus renovations? Hearing none, we moved along to public comment period. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment Is there any public comment? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Blanco, motion by Commissioner Tillotson, supported by Commissioner Blanco. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.